if you would like to introduce yourself to us, please.
Yeah, my name is Master Carlos Fuentes. I'm originally from New York City, and I've been in New York now for about 35 years.
Okay. So where did you get started in martial
I
arts?
started at the age of 10 in New York City in the Bronx. The reason I got into the martial arts was, and God knows it's a true story, I got beat up by 5 guys so bad. I was 10 years old. I crawled underneath a car so they wouldn't get beat up anymore. And they couldn't get me out from underneath the car. Even the cops couldn't get me out until they went and got my mom, and she got me out of there. And my father, from that day on, took me from the Bronx. He said to take a bus and a train to the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and I trained with Sifu Wasuko in Manhattan back when I was back in the early 70s.
Wow, at 10 years old.
Yeah, and I have never taken a break from martial arts. I even boxed Golden Gloves. And now, at my age, the last few years, I've been president of the Pennsylvania Karate Hall of Fame.
Really?
And our organization is neat because it actually has martial arts from all styles. It's not Asian rules, not Taekwondo, it's all styles. And we endorse it because it's for the purpose of educating people that is no longer what we call, remember back in the old days, called tunnel vision fighting. My style was better than yours. Those days are done.
Yeah.
Everybody, martial arts is a rare breed, and we have to keep it going.
Right.
If not,
You never stop learning with martial arts. You're always a student.
yeah, and me being a 10th degree black belt, I laugh. I've never learned anything from a black belt. I learn everything from my students, my beginners, because they always teach me something new.
Oh yeah.
That's what keeps it so interesting. I mean, you got a 6, 7-year-old kid doing things, and you're like, wow.
Like yeah, they impress you, huh?
Impressed, yeah. So yeah, I enjoy doing it.
So when did you open your first studio?
My first studio opened back in 1976.
1976. Was that in New York?
In New York, and then when I moved to York in 76, 77, I started in New York, and we did the in-city teaching with a couple other black belts for free. And to this day, the schools in the New York City area are free for anybody who wants to train. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Because people need that, definitely. It keeps people out of trouble.
Now we have a young lady named Felicia Dennis. She's one of my black belts, and she's really does a lot with the inner city kids, teaching for free. So and she's also a member of the Pennsylvania Karate Hall of Fame. And that's what we're doing. We're teaching people. And as we teach, we learn.
Of course. Of course. Is there any specific moves that you really like to teach people?
Well, I teach the axe kick.
The axe kick?
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of my favorites too.
And unfortunately, I can't do it anymore because I've had health issues, but I still know how to teach it.
You can still teach it. That's all that counts.
My students, when they compete, I go, little hooks on.
Yeah, this, right?
It's like, I want to see it.
And they get it.
And they get it. So it's a lot of fun. I did some teaching with the state police, helping them out with the physical fitness and training, restraining. It's been part of my life. Like I said, some people do martial arts and take a year off. I've never taken off.
Never stopped.
No. And even now with my health issues, people are like, sir, get off the floor. I'm on the floor playing. So,
You can't stop.
no, I can't. It's done. Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
Well, is there any specific story or anything that you have like that 10 years old getting beaten up by 5 different guys? Tell me more about that.
Well, that was a learning experience because what happened was I learned that the martial arts taught me not to be angry or have a vendetta. I mean, don't get me wrong, back in the day, it was a different situation. When you fought somebody, the next day you became friends. And that's the way it was. Nowadays, you got to be careful. If you fight somebody, they want to pull a gun on you. Because nobody knows how to fight anymore. And especially these kids, they don't have respect for each other. But when I got beat up by those 5 guys, I'll never forget, my father made me fight every one of those kids one at a time. Again. And just to show them that it wasn't about the fear, but when 5-on-1, like I said, I was 10 years old. And, the same scenario happened 20 years ago in New York, where some guy comes in. We were actually at a restaurant, and some guy comes in with a butcher knife, says he's going to kill the biggest guy there. Unfortunately, I happen to be the biggest guy.
Oh boy.
When he pulled the knife on me, I already had his knife in my hand, and I put the fear of God into him, and people were like, well, you know,
Yeah, he wanted the biggest guy and he got
he
it.
got it. So, but yeah,
Well, he chose the right person for that.
yeah, you know, the police showed up. They asked me if I want to press charges. I said no, I think he got his lesson. So, yeah. But,
So you said 10th degree black belt. That's no small feat. How long has it taken you from your first degree black belt to 10?
oh my God, well, I hold black belts in 6 different styles:
What are the styles?
Taekwondo, Shokan, Ishinru, Muay Kwan. I've always encouraged even my students, my black belts, to go and learn these other styles because you learn to adapt with different styles. But I'm a 10th degree in ninjutsu.
In jiu-jitsu? Okay, that's amazing.
Yep. So it's like my first black belt I was probably, now they call it junior black belt. Back then they didn't. I was 15 years old. Yeah.
Right, a junior black belt. Okay.
Yeah, back now they call it junior black belt. Back then they didn't. When you were you earned your black belt, which is, I agree, to have a junior black belt division. But back then when we fought in New York, you had to fight no matter what. You were a black belt, you fought a black belt. So, but we had plenty of fights.
Have you competed when you were
Back in the day, yes. I bought New York. I fought in the Golden Gloves. I bought many martial arts tournaments in New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Do you miss competing?
Yes, I do. But the last 20 years, I've been helping a lot of schools and have their tournaments. I help run their tournaments, be their, how you call it, arbitrator.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I coordinate a lot of tournaments. And our organization, the Pennsylvania Karate Hall of Fame, we actually help a lot of schools with a lot of their tournaments and stuff. And we volunteer our time. Like I said, we don't, nobody's getting paid for it. Just because of the love of the art.
Well, we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here and having the interview and sitting down with us.
No problem. Appreciate the interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice to have you.